Hey everybody, I just want to talk to you about capos for a minute because I think I have found the one capo to rule them all. So before I get into it, let's just jump straight to that. It is the G7th Artist Capo. It was not the G7th Artist Capo, it was the G7th Performance 3 Art Capo. So just ignore every time I say the wrong name. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. It's the best capo ever. Now, if you want a little more detail on that, I've used a ton of different capos. For example, I think we all started, a lot of them, with the good old Kyser trigger capo. This guy. Squeeze it, spring loaded, put it on your guitar, it's nice. You can kind of reach over like this. And my problem with them, like a lot of capos, that's actually not too bad. Problem with a lot of capos is that this is fixed. It's a fixed radius. For anybody who doesn't know, every guitar neck has a radius, which is how flat it is versus how curved it is. This is a Rain Song acoustic, which tends to be pretty flat. It's got a 20-inch radius, they call it. So it's fairly flat. A lot of other guitars might have more of a curve to them, and they'll have lesser radiuses, for example, like a 12-inch radius or a 10-inch radius. The lower the inch, the more curved the neck is. So most capos, as you can see, this is fixed. It doesn't curve more, it doesn't get flatter. So sometimes if you put it on your guitar, you might have problems in that it might not be curved enough, so then your high and low strings might buzz. Not a problem here. If it's not flat enough, then you might have problems on the middle strings buzzing. Another problem I've had with almost all capos is that the things like this, they're spring loaded, you can't adjust the tension or how hard it's clamping on the neck. So if you have taller frets, like I do on some of my electrics, then this is going to just clamp down real hard, and it's going to clamp so hard that it pushes the strings sharp. Again, not really a problem on this guitar, so that's good. So those are the two main problems you're going to encounter with most capos. Again, these trigger type spring loader like this, fixed radius capo. So again, your guitar neck is going to vary between how flat or curved. This is not going to vary. Might not fit your guitar neck well. And this spring, which is going to just clamp at a predetermined amount of pressure, which might be too much and it might push your strings sharp. A problem I have a lot. One way you can minimize that if you have to use this kind of capo is if you put it as close to the fret as you can. You don't want to put it like back here. Let me see. Yeah, see, then you start getting like buzz like that. Exaggerated for effect. That's pretty far back and still sounds all right. But generally, you're going to want it real close to the fret. Now, so yeah, that's a Kyser. I also tried the Dunlop trigger. I think it's called trigger Dunlop capo like this. Didn't like this as much because I tend to like going over like that, and this one's a little more awkward. You gotta squeeze it with this hand and put it on. Not too bad, but same problems. Again, with this Rain Song acoustic, I'm real lucky. I don't have too much of a problem with it, but same as the other capo. No, hopefully that fits your neck profile. If it doesn't, you might have problems. And again, spring, can't adjust that tension. So those both have the same problems. Now, then I tried the Thalia capo, or Thalia. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. The Thalia capo. They come in cool, different finishes and things. I liked this. This is kind of cool. It's got this spring-loaded function here. So when you squeeze it, see how it goes back? Try it again. See that? Releases that, goes back. Burp. And they come with 3 packs of inserts that go in there. And these are all different guitar radiuses. So you match the radius of your guitar. So for example, on my Rain Song, again, it's a 20-inch radius. So I would go in here and I'd find the 20-inch radius little insert. They just pop in and out like that. So that's in one of the inserts. So you put it in, pops in. And then you squeeze it to release it, put it on the guitar, and hopefully, again, again, not bad with this guitar. But I did find myself still having some problems with tuning every now and then because it's, once again, you can't dictate how hard that squeeze is. It's going to squeeze however hard it wants. And it might squeeze too hard, push the strings out of tune. The other problem with the Thalia, and these are expensive capos. These are like $80 a piece, I think, something like that. They're expensive. Is that if you then want to use it with a different guitar that has a different neck radius, you got to pop that out. And then you got to go get the other insert. For example, again, my acoustic has a 20-inch radius. I would have to change out the insert every time I switched radiuses. So if I went to my 12-inch radius guitar, I'd have to put the 12-inch radius in here. Oh, if I want to then use on my 10-inch radius guitar, I got to get that insert and put the 10-inch radius in here. Kind of a pain. I also had a problem when using them live. I would find, I'd pull this out of my little bag where I keep my picks and capos and stuff, and this insert like would have just fallen out. So I was like, I'd go to put it on, like, oh crap, where's my insert? Oh, it's in my little bag because it fell out. Not, in my opinion, worth $80. So then, now we're getting closer. Then I found the Shubb. I like the Shubb. The reason I like the Shubb is, as you can see, there's a little screw here where you can adjust the tension, which is the primary part. Now, you still can't adjust this. That's going to be what it is. So if it doesn't match, again, the radius of your guitar, might have small problems. But hey, at least now we can adjust the tension. So that's something. You can put it on there and... See, I'm getting a little buzz. So in that case, I come and it's like, well, let's crank that tension up a little bit, make it clamp a little bit harder. Much cleaner. Still getting a little buzz. So I could probably increase the tension a little more if I wanted to. But you get the idea. Great, you can adjust more or less tension. Really just feels like a good quality capo. I just got these recently and I've loved it. I've used it a couple times live. Pretty good. Pretty good. Again, you still have the neck radius problem. Same with, this is I believe a D'Addario? Yeah, D'Addario capo. Same thing, again. That's going to be a fixed radius, nothing you can do about that. But you got this big, gigantic screw thing here to adjust the tension, so that hopefully you don't put too much tension on your guitar. Worked pretty good. A little bigger than the Shubb. I think I prefer the Shubb just because it's smaller. It's real compact, and when I throw it in my bag of accessories, it takes up no room. Oh, that's another thing to mention about the Thalia capo. For example, let's say you're going to put it up here on the 7th fret. Sounds all right. But I find these to be real bulky. Can you see that? I just find them, they're so high profile that, like, if you go and you try to do a B7 up here, it's hard. My hand is hitting the capo and it's kind of uncomfortable. Sort of awkward to get over the capo because it's just gargantuan, really thick. So that's another thing I didn't like about the Thalia capos. So now let's come to, though my opinion, the one capo to rule them all. Again, made by a company called G7th. This has two great things going for it that I love. One is you don't be able to see this, but they have what they call this adaptive radius technology, which supposedly this little pad adapts to the radius of your neck. It's got like little swivels in there and things. It's built in such a way so that as you put pressure on it, let's say this is your neck and this is the capo. As you put pressure on it, supposedly it kind of does this and will conform to the neck. And if your neck's real flat, then it'll do that. If your neck is more curved, no neck is that curved, obviously. Then whoa, it'll do that. So yeah, underneath the little pad, there's little swivels and things. Now, something I did not know when I got it that is really cool is how the pressure works. It's not spring-loaded at all. It's got this little release mechanism here. So generally, if it's on your guitar like that, you would grab it and hit this release mechanism, that'd open it up. And then when you put it on the guitar, you'd put it on and you'd just clamp it shut, however And then it stays wherever you clamp it until you hit this release button, and that opens it back up. So again, you know, so I go, hey, let's put it on here, and then I squeeze it closed. And as you squeeze it, it automatically conforms to the neck. You just press the release thing, goes, release it. So once again, it's got like a gear in here so that as you close and clamp it, it stays there. Now it won't come back out till you release it. I have found it a little bit fiddly, but not a bad thing. I'm still getting used to it. I literally just got this today. So like a lot of times I will put it on, let's just do 3rd fret. It's a nice medium ground. 3rd fret. So I barely squeezed it, so it's barely on there. As you hear, yep, see it's not. That G string and my low E aren't happening, so I'll squeeze it harder, put more pressure on it. There we go, now we got the low E. Pretty good, maybe a little bit more. So, the great thing about the G7th is you can, again, it adapts to your fretboard, and you can squeeze it to put just as much pressure as you need for a given guitar. If you have really high frets, then you don't want to overpressure it or it'll push your strings sharp because you'll be pushing the string down so hard. If you have really low frets, you can put more pressure on it. So, again, the G7th Artist Capo, which takes care of the 2 biggest problems with capos, which is the pad not adjusting to the radius of the guitar, which this one does, and you apply just as much pressure as needed. If you need more, you can squeeze it a little tighter. So far, I haven't used it live yet, just been playing with it in my studio. I'm sold. Good close second, again, are the Shubb and the D'Addario. Anything with adjustable tension will really help. But this G7th Artist, they make another one. I forget the model. It's like 125 bucks or something. This one's only like 35, 40, something like that. Under $50. Totally worth it to me. The one capo to rule them all, the G7th Artist Capo. Have fun.